Yeah. All right, I'd like to call to order the Village of Middleville Village Council meeting for Tuesday, June 23rd, 2026. Rhonda, could I please have roll call?
Kevin Smith.
Here.
Stephen Baldry.
Here.
Robert Bishop.
Here.
Patrick Hilton. John Osterman.
Here.
Susan Shannon. Here. Sandra Wake. Here.
All right, a motion to excuse Mr. Hilton. Support. Motion with support. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? And we'll stand for the pledge of allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Moving on to approve the agenda, I don't think we need to,
You have no changes.
really no changes other than the typo, but we can,
That's only on yours.
that's always down, okay, that's all right.
I think
Then I
that's-
definitely don't need to.
I believe that's only on yours and mine.
If everything goes off the rail, we'll just blame you for the
No, you're
bad
good.
agenda that I.
Nope. The real one is mine.
All right, approval of the agenda, please.
I move we approve the agenda. Support.
Motion with support, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Is that support?
All right, we have a motion with support to approve the consent agenda with minutes of the regular meeting of June 9th, 2026, approval of bills as of June 17th, 2026 for $150,801.47. Could I please have a roll call?
Robert Bishop.
Aye.
Sandra Wake. Aye. John Osterman.
Aye.
Stephen Baldry.
Aye.
Patrick Hilton. Susan Shannon. Aye. Kevin Smith.
Aye. Motion carries. Moving on to public comment. Limit of 3 minutes per speaker is in effect. Any person attending may comment on any subject. Please state your name and direct your comments to the chair. The Village of Middleville rules of procedure prohibit village council from debating or discussing issues with the public at this time.
I go.
Of course.
Hello, my name is Steve Schultz. I'm, do I see my address?
If you don't.
Yeah, really quick. 104 West Calgary, it's Hastings. I'm the general manager and CEO for Bloomingdale Communications. We're a fiber to the home provider that we have a project in primarily Thornapple Township. We'll be doing a little bit of work here in the village. And I just want to let the council know about it. And also just to talk about it really briefly, the other day I submitted, well, actually, yesterday I emailed, and then today we've submitted a Metro Act agreement, which is approvals for right-of-way use, and this is a bilateral agreement. We had submitted a draft of it a little while back, and to Craig, and the attorneys had reviewed it, so we've done a little bit of work on that. Our fiber to the home project in Thornapple Township is looking to serve about 600 homes. Our work here in the village is primarily, we'll go down Crane Road, come down Grand Rapids Street, and then it goes a little bit out towards the east end of town. And that's our initial project. Our project is funded by the USDA Rural Utility Service. For older folks in the crowd, we may have called it the Rural Electrification Association back in an older day. And so it's a 50% loan, 50% grant project. And what I want you to know and understand is that the project does not look to serve residents of the village maybe just a little bit, again, on that east end for today. But the project builds a bunch of infrastructure, fiber to the home infrastructure that we would be able to use to leverage and provide services to the village as like phases 2, 3, 4, 10, 12, 6, and 8. And then the last thing just to point out is we actually started construction. Today was the first day to actually begin construction, probably out on Adams Road. But if you were looking at the map of our footprint, planned footprint, it's kind of a letter C that goes around the village. And like I said, it does include building in and around parts of the village that would be infrastructure, and it allows us to build off of that. It allows us to build off of that as other phases of the project as we go further along. So we'll be able to compete with the particularly Charter spectrum, and we'll be able to offer great fiber to the home internet service. Last couple of things while the clock is ticking is Bloomingdale is a place. It's a small little, basically not much of a town, just south of Allegan. It's kind of in between the Gobles, Kalamazoo, South Haven. And our company is a 120-year-old company, so we're not new to this game. In the last, since 2018, we've spent about $45 million to build fiber to the home, including our existing footprint and a whole bunch of other expansion, again, using USDA rural utility service dollars. So I've been in contact with Craig quite a bit over time. He's probably way sick of me, but if anybody from the village council or anywhere else has questions or concerns, I'm glad to answer any of them. I'm glad to meet with council in smaller groups so as to avoid problems with quorum, but explain what we're doing, why we're doing it, and all sorts of things like that if anybody's interested.
Wonderful.
So thanks so much.
Appreciate it.
Mr. President, you will see more of that on the next agenda as well. Those documents that he's talking about were emailed yesterday and today, so we'll see the rest of that on the agenda in 3 weeks.
Any other takers? All right. Moving on to reserve time. Brandon isn't here.
I didn't hear from Brandon either.
I guess we'll continue to move on without him. I don't know how.
Guess that goes to me.
Miss Getty, welcome.
Hello, everyone. I bet we wish we were outside walking the trail tonight, but, so we've had a couple of meetings. We've met on June 9th and the 23rd. Both were record-long meetings. We started at 9 and we've been going past 11, almost noon on the 9th. So, we had interviews for committees, and we like to give all the applicants a chance, to ask questions, and we ask questions of them. So those meetings tend to go long if we have a lot of applicants. And we had, I think, 8 candidates for 3 boards. So we appointed Liz Lenz to the Materials Management Planning Board. Liz, I'll bet that many of you know her. She works for Community Mental Health and the Substance Abuse Task Force. And she's been really involved for a very long time with the household hazardous waste and the sharps and the medicine stuff that we collect there. So she's going to be a great fit on our materials management board and really be able to step right into that. And we also appointed Julie Kuhn, who's been really active in this area. I've known her for years in the village of Meadowville. So she's also on the, she was appointed to the Mental Health Authority Board. And we had 2 great candidates for the Veterans Affairs Committee. And that one, we always seem to get really good candidates and we have to make a decision. And we're happy to appoint Evan Wisner to that, and so he's a great guy. Other than that, we approved some insurance, for, vehicles, and we're part of the Michigan Municipal Risk Management Pool, so we get, some savings there, with the pool. Then today, Julie Netford Pratt, the prosecutor, is replacing a assistant prosecutor position, and she had a candidate that, was a great candidate from Allegan County, and we approved hiring him in at a step 4, so it meant combining some experience and years of service to be able to do that, so we approved that this morning. A digitization plan for our clerk records. So going back to the 1800s, there's a company called CoFile. I believe they're out of Texas, and they digitize very old historical records. In this case, marriage licenses, birth certificates, things like that from the 1800s through the early 1900s. And these records are very, you can imagine, the paper is very brittle. They've been laminated over time. I felt that the village has some things like that here, but some very old records that we want to preserve before it's too late. So CoFile contracted with the county last year to do the register of deeds. This year, they're going to start on the clerk files. And then we passed a resolution opposing the state preemption of local zoning. So hopefully you're aware of that proposal. It would really undermine all the master planning that we've done here in the village, the township, the county, and then have that dictated to us by Lansing. So if you want a copy of that, that's on our in our packet materials. But it was voted on unanimously this morning, and local control is always the best control if we can get it. So, any questions?
With regard to that resolution that you passed this morning, is that just a formal opposition to that particular bill?
It's in committee, the bill's in committee.
Okay.
I'm sure that
It'd be
Mr.
fruitful
Powers
for all of
or
us to.
Stolzenberg can provide you, some of those materials, but the map surprisingly has been in favor of it, but MML or the village
annual report and
Yeah.
information about that.
Yeah, so it really could be catastrophic, dictating minimum lot sizes, multi-unit housing, things like that, especially in our rural communities, not such a big deal, although it is in the city and in villages, but places that don't have access to utilities, it could be pretty significant.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Here's the big one. Dan, come on down.
Thanks for the introduction. I've never heard that before. Don't say that about auditors too much. I'd rather be outside, like Catherine said, than listening to an auditor. But I really appreciate your invitation to the meeting like you do every year. For those of you I haven't met, my name is Dan Veldhuis. I'm a CPA with Siegfried Crandall. Been working with the village since about the year 2000. So I've seen a lot at the village. Wanted to express our appreciation for the long-term relationship. I also want to express our appreciation for Laura Marr's work. Auditors hesitate to compliment people on those things. But one of the things that stood out to me with your audit this year was Lorimar's continued improvements in her abilities. Not that she wasn't doing well last year, but just so much more confidence and capability. So that stood out to me this year. So we appreciate her assistance. When I get a chance to do this, I'd like to talk just briefly about a few things. Those are the auditor communications. That's what you hired us to do. Make a few comments about your financial conditions, and then try to come up with any recommendations or improvements. I don't want Rhonda to have to scroll through 50 pages.
You
So
just tell me which page.
I'm just going to hit the highlights, and
Okay.
I don't think you need to do that. But
Perfect.
just very briefly, I'll talk about the auditor's report. That's what you hired us to do. You get an opinion on the financial statements. You get an unmodified opinion or a clean opinion, same as we have always. But it's important to me that you know that we can only do that if management makes all the corrections that we suggest. So too often in media, I hear it's an unmodified opinion. That doesn't necessarily tell you everything that went on. Did we make one correction? Did we make 24 corrections? And I think that's important for you to know. We'll talk about that in a second. Another concept that's in that letter is related to responsibilities of management. Our responsibility is to give an opinion. It's management's responsibility to for the financial statements and internal controls or checks and balances over the transactions. So that's management's responsibility. Even though we prepared this document for you, it's their responsibility. So getting back to how many corrections did we have to make? This is a letter that Rhonda does have up. Maybe if you could go to the third page in that letter, Rhonda. This is usually the thing that generates the most interest. It's a number of things that we have to put in writing. It seems like it's not that long ago, but it's at least 10, 12 years now that we have to put in writing about 6 to 8 things that we didn't have to before. But now if we run into problems with internal controls, things like that, we have to put that in writing and let you know about it and let your citizens in the state know. So what you'll see there is a list of bullet points where we identify, well, first of all, it defines material weaknesses and internal control deficiencies, terrible sounding terms that I didn't come up with. But when we have to make a material correction to your books, we call that a material weakness, and we point out those adjustments. So you can see the bullet points there. But what I wanted to, and we call it a material weakness, but I just want to make it clear to you that almost all of the governments, and we work with 180 governments, probably all but 6 or 8 of them get a comment like this. So it's very typical. I think it's an unfair expectation for a government your size to give us this document perfectly. Not that many years ago, that wasn't the expectation at all. We'd come in and help. But what's important to me that you know is that if you look at the second and third item, it relates to your fixed assets or capital assets. And that's an agreement we have with management to help you record those and calculate depreciation. If we didn't do that, you would have to buy software to do it. It's kind of complicated, and we have the software to do it. So we do that for probably 98% of our clients. So those 2 adjustments are expected. The first one was unique, related to unbilled revenue in the enterprise funds. And there was one additional payable item that was accrued. It was a large one, but just one. So it's an example of Lorimar probably recorded 75 of them, but missed one because it was large enough we had to point it out. So again, auditors are just always critical and rarely complimentary. So even though we call it a material weakness, I think it's important that you know we made relatively few corrections. And I already complimented Lorimar, but you also have a very good relationship with a CPA that we've worked with for a long time. He's one of the better governmental accountants and auditors around. And you have a relationship where you can talk to him during the year and he helps prepare for the audit. So I think that's a great relationship. Costs a little extra, more than a lot of villages and cities have to pay, but it's well worth it in my opinion. Just a few comments on your financial condition. Your management can tell you about this, but if you wanted to look at page 17, it's a balance sheet for your governmental funds. Most council members are often most interested in what's our fund balance, and is that a good number? So the general fund's fund balance is about 1.7 million. And it's hard to know if that's a good number. As an auditor, I can't tell you if that's a good number. but I look at it relative to your current year's expenditures. And if you do the math, it works out to 76% of your current year's expenditures. The typical city and village in the state of Michigan is somewhere between 10 and 20%. That's very common. So you're at 76, I think that's a good thing. There's no limitation on how much fund balance you can have. It's always helpful to have a little extra, especially in this environment and for some of the things that you want to do. Also, another thing that stands out in this balance sheet is your street funds. You have a major and local street fund. There's 2.4 million in fund balance there. That's unusual. Most cities and villages I work with have no fund balance in their local street, especially all that money gets spent. They have over $1 million available. Maybe that's been spent already, I don't know. And then those are the governmental funds. They're financed by state grants and property taxes. If you were to look at the proprietary funds, those are your sewer, water, and internal service funds. Those also have very healthy equity positions. $3.3 million in the sewer fund, and you have $510,000 in your internal service fund that's really set aside internally for equipment purchases and things like that. I don't see too many internal service funds with that kind of fund balance. And those funds are all generating operating income, which is also important that you're setting rates in such a way that you're covering operating costs, including depreciation. So that's pretty rare for cities and villages. Most of councils don't like to continue increasing rates to the right amount, but you obviously have to cover those costs. So I compliment you on that. The final financial matter is your defined benefit pension plan. For those of you who don't follow that closely, you have a liability of about 2.8 million, but you've been able to set money aside and you've made additional contributions several times over the last 10 years, so that your funding percentage is 89%. That's rare. The plans that I see rarely get to 80% because there have been some losses on the investments, changes in the discount rates and things like that, but you're at almost 90%, which is great. So the financial condition of the village and its various funds and the defined benefit plan are as healthy as I've seen in the 25 years I've been here. So that's really good to know, I think. As far as recommendations, I kind of touched on these already. I would say Laura continues to improve her skills, and that's a great thing for all of you. Helps us for the audit too. And I mentioned this before, to continue that relationship with Peter Hefner and his group. Just so you have a lot more governments are working with 2 CPA firms. One is their accountant and one is their auditor. So Laura can ask either one of us for an opinion during the year or at the end of the year if she wants. So that's all I have, but I'd be happy to answer any specific questions either now or at any time during the year.
I do want to remind you that you said the exact same thing last year about Glorimar and how impressed you were with her last year. And you also prefaced it by saying you don't normally do that. So thank you for that. And I mean, Glorimar does a phenomenal job. And just to publicly acknowledge that we have continued in my tenure on village council has seen nothing but dramatic improvement year over year over year. And in terms of our ability to make it through an audit without too many issues. So I appreciate you calling her out on that and acknowledging her hard work. So that's phenomenal.
I appreciate you remembering anything I said a year ago.
We do, really or not.
It's an important part of how we operate, so yeah, for sure. And it's nice to also see that we continue to make improvements year over year with regard to fund balances, and we're very intentional about that, have been. And kudos to Craig for making sure that those fund balances continue to either stabilize or continue to grow, because again, regardless of whether it's in terms of troubling times or whatever, I think it just makes really good sense to be financially healthy and be able to accommodate any unforeseen event. So I think Craig has done a really great job of maintaining that. And with regard to the water rates, those are hard decisions, and this council has made them several times actually, and it's our least favorite decision, but I also think that it's very important that we continue to do that. So thanks again for calling that out, because it's a hard decision, but it's also necessary. So it's good stuff. Any other questions or concerns?
No, I just remember what our financial shape was not that long ago. And Lorimer's really, you should plug your ears for him. Lorimer's really been a phenomenal job. We're lucky to have him.
Very, very, very. All right, well, thank you so much. I appreciate you doing this, and thanks for making yourself available.
Thanks for your time.
All right, Mr. Powers, welcome.
Good evening, council. So the subject tonight is resolution 26-07. The recommendation is move to adopt resolution number 26-07, approving and adopting the Main Street Vision Plan. So background, the Village and Downtown Development Authority have worked to improve the Main Street corridor through streetscape investments, river and trail connections, and public gathering spaces. The DDA commissioned Williams and Works to prepare the Main Street Vision Plan, which provides conceptual design guidance for the corridor extending from M37 to Grand Rapids Street. The plan identifies a series of potential long-term improvements, including gateway features, enhanced crosswalks, and streetscape elements, expanded public gathering spaces, alley activation, wayfinding, bicycle accommodations, and corridor-wide streetscape standards intended to create a more consistent and pedestrian-oriented downtown environment. The attached resolution would approve and adopt the Main Street Vision Plan as a guiding reference document for future planning, design, and development decisions along the Main Street corridor. Adoption of the plan does not authorize construction of any specific project. Individual projects would return to the Village Council for future consideration and approval as funding becomes available. So fiscal impact, there is no immediate construction expenditures impact. And I did also provide a couple alternatives if the council chooses to go a different direction. Be more than happy to answer any questions or provide any additional background.
I think it looks great. I do. Can I talk?
Please.
For the M37, do we have to have approval to do anything on the M37 crosswalk?
So this is the location of where this would tentatively be. If we're doing things on a state road, we need to work with MTOT. But, you know, if
It
we
looks
have
beautiful.
design
I'm just
standards, that can help in part of that process.
How does this match up with our master plan and the fact that we're going to have a new master plan soon?
Absolutely. So this would be viewed more as a supplemental update to the master plan, because a little background, in 2003, the village was awarded a grant that allowed for Hyatt Palma to do what they refer to as the downtown blueprint, where one of the suggestions within that document was that we create streetscape design standards. This is the first time this is coming to this board, so the past 25 plus years it has not happened.
Oh, we don't want to rush, right? Also, I noticed there were a couple of places where people were going to lose driveways. I think would they be okay with that, or have they been consulted?
So, and then this does not necessarily mean that anyone is losing driveways. So this suggestion is based on a couple factors. One is that the added driveways do, increase the cost for road reconstruction projects. It also can affect the visibility and placemaking components in regards to how people, perceive the area. So any of those discussions would have to come at the time of any street project. They just worked with us to create a concept based on the public feedback, because this underwent a couple different workshop sessions. I believe some of your council members were part of this process as well.
Yeah, it is beautiful. Okay.
Questions, comments?
No, we went over this at the planning commission. My only comment was, it was on the rendering of the sketches, it showed everything being flat.
They were not flat.
So we have to look at that with a grain of salt.
Additional comments, and it would be remiss of us to approve this without having at least a small amount of conversation regarding the islands and the landscape looks beautiful, and it is beautiful. But that also does open up some challenges for keeping the streets clean and when there's snow and there's a few other indications. Now, I'm sure there's a fancy piece of gear that JD would be more than happy to buy if we had to make accommodations, but the reality is that it does have greater impact than just going out redesigning and then and I think that this is just a great roadmap more than it is, we would have to have further discussions and obviously tweak it to meet our needs, but it is beautiful and it's a great rendering. And as long as we use this document as a carry forward to other planning documents that we make and set the standard for this would help set the standard for like what we're looking for village-wide. That would be really the best use of it, at least in my opinion.
Would improve the pedestrian and bicycle traffic,
For sure.
which we need.
So there's if we were to adopt this one-to-one, it does make for a better, safer pedestrian management, and certainly I think it would slow traffic down considerably on Main Street as it comes into the downtown area, so.
It would be nice to see bike paths
Yeah.
instead of sharing.
The conversations have always been that our roads aren't wide enough. And we've gone through a few different iterations of this, blue zones and a few other things where they just got completely blown out of the water because I feel like the statement was that the roads weren't wide enough or we couldn't accommodate certain attributes of the plan. But again, I think these are guidelines, not rules. So I think we can certainly alter them to make them beneficial for us in the long run.
Yeah, so this included, this project specifically started off with a walking audit before we received public feedback. We received numerous public feedback that has been provided, as well as there was a meeting with elected officials and staff to work out some of the logistics. And there's been a couple additional workshops where the landscape architect sat down with committee members and received additional feedback. So a lot of these things, there's been back and forth regarding, the types of pavers that are not to be used, and like you mentioned, with the sidewalks and other various metrics. So there certainly has been a lot of different iterations and thoughts that have went into this. And this is done by the firm that has been doing our engineering as well. So I'm sure when projects do come to conception, this can be used as a guiding reference. And if there are any challenges at that time, they will be addressed, because this is a guiding document. This is not what needs to happen.
I was impressed with the downtown parking portion of it. It seemed very logical and certainly far safer than what we're currently dealing with right now.
And the reason that came up in part was the grade of the Main Street on this strip that we're residing on is at almost the maximum grade that they would allow for angle parking, where that's where some of these other suggestions were made from a safety standpoint, realizing the challenges associated with that.
Okay. With that, motion to adopt resolution 2607.
I make a motion, we adopt resolution 2607.
Support. We have a motion with support. Any further discussion? All right, roll call, please.
John Osterbaum,
Aye.
Stephen Baldry,
Aye.
Robert Bishop,
Aye.
Sandra Wake. Aye. Susan Shannon.
Aye.
Patrick Hilton. Kevin Smith.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Stolzenberg is not here as we go on to council and staff reports. So, Mr. Powers. Welcome back.
Well, thank you. Long time no see. So from the planning commission did meet on June 2nd and really been focusing on our upcoming July 21st meeting. Because as you know, we've gotten a good amount of responses. I don't have the exact number, but I believe we're over 500 survey responses from the master plan.
Wow,
So
that's phenomenal.
several times higher than our last update. And I will get you an exact number here shortly. But there have been a handful of permits. Certainly are working on ordinance updates. That committee met on May 27th last. And yeah, there's a few other things from the planning perspective. But besides that, DDA primarily budgeting committee will be meeting in July, is gotta get ready for that. And we've been focusing on a handful of different things that you'll see they're broken down at a committee level. Looking to bring some more things to the board, so that'll be forthcoming. If anyone has any questions about anything in this or not in this report, we're happy to address. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Mr. Rickert is not here, so you find his report in the packet. Moving on to JD. Welcome, sir.
Hello. Good evening, everybody. Not a ton going on. Misty Ridge paving project is completed, so there goes some of that street funding that you were talking about. The parking lot back here got seal coated, crack sealed. The seal coating will begin in about 2 weeks, so it'll be shut down for 2 days for that. Railroad Street's getting ready to begin. The big thing I want to touch on is Rob Simons and Nate Beard both passed water and wastewater certificates this spring. So I want to say congratulations to them, because those are not the easiest to do. So that gives us some certified operators, and that's always nice to have. Other than that, just business as usual. Any questions about anything?
I think the elephant in the room is just how you guys recovering from the hurricane of 26.
We're getting cleaned up. We were short-staffed, and we're plugging away on it now. So hopefully by the end of this week, the village itself will be completely clear, and then we're gonna start hitting the trails again. We got it opened up, but there's still stuff everywhere, so we're gonna start getting that out of there next week. So
That was huge.
Yeah.
Feel for you guys a lot.
we did have power loss on the lift station, and that broke our transfer switch, so we were stuck in between utility power and generator power, so that gave us no power. So we had to use the Vector for 8 hours to keep that under control.
Oh my gosh.
So,
Is that one we want to replace?
yes.
We got his last night.
So, what I'm looking at, speaking of which, that one we can actually hook up to our forced main, so that way we don't have to pump and then dump. We can literally pump and then at the trash pump, and then we just put it right in our forced mains, and they can just sit there and go. So that would save money towards another machine that would do that itself, but now this is an all-inclusive, does multiple things, so more to come on that, just so yeah.
You know, it's so rare that we lose power in the village, but it's a major deal when we do.
Yeah, and usually we have generator power, but that was one of those freak things to where, like I said, the transfer switch broke, so we were literally stuck between and couldn't get either one to work. So luckily we had that, otherwise it would not have been great.
Yikes. Well, thank you, JD. Appreciate that.
Okay.
tell the guys thanks for their.
For sure.
Will do.
All right, and did anyone do any liaising? Last 2 days.
Next week, we'll,
There are no liaison reports then. No unfinished business, new business. Lormar.
So what you guys have in front of you guys is another amendment to our financial policy, just like my memo says. We're constantly looking into this kind of report that guide us on how to do our job and our reports and stuff like that. And every time I go to a class or a session, I'm like, oh, I should put that in there. I should put that in there. So that's basically what this is. I try to have it the most updated. So if I find, maybe next month I will go to another class and I find something that, oh, we put that in there. So I'm gonna bring it back. Today, we're just having another one, and I will happy to answer any questions about the amendments.
So are we approving, or would we approve the red line version and then you come back and then present the finished one and then we
No,
review that, or is it just?
no, once you approve the changes that I'm making and you can see in red.
Yep.
Then I just go tomorrow and then I'll just do a clean copy and it will be on our records for whoever wants to see it. But like every time we do an amendment, it's gonna be that it was amended this date.
And I noticed that a few of them were just moving
Mhm.
a section
Yep.
from one section to another, at least
Yep.
from what I read.
Yeah, the big change in this one is I wanted to add in there more about cash handling in the office. Since I mentioned before, we have more staff right now in the office, and that gave us plenty of, it is easier to have other people making stuff that to be more clear and more transparent and more efficient in our process.
And say,
Is it correct?
I'll say
Yep.
it. All right. Well, then it would appear as though we have, we need a motion to approve the amendments to the Village of Middleville Financial Administration policies as presented by staff.
so moved.
Support.
We have a motion with support. Any further discussion, questions, concerns? All right, and, Rhonda, could I have a roll call for that, please?
Stephen Baldry,
Aye.
Robert Bishop,
Aye.
Patrick Hilton, Susan Shannon,
Aye.
John Osterbon,
Aye.
Sandra Wake, Kevin Smith.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Glormar. Welcome back, Mr. Powers.
Well, thank you for having me.
It's familiar.
So this subject pertains to the Planning Commission and Zoning Board of Appeals compensation review. Reason that this is coming up, for any of you that may not know, the council had discussed this at the previous year. From the planning perspective, we had itemized sufficient funding within the budget to accommodate that consideration. No action or discussion was taken beyond that. So I did, within this report, I did do a little bit of digging, and you'll notice on the second page how some of the nearby communities are compensated for members that serve on those various boards. And additional item, this hasn't been updated since 2000, is the last time that the compensation was modified for this board. Happy to go into details about any of this. This is really just brought from a discussion standpoint, because, you know, I'm not sure what the board's appetite is, since it was a little over a year ago.
I mean, I think that our last discussion was pretty much in alignment with doing the increase. From what I remember, Mr. Bishop, if you recall, I think we were all aligned with it mostly.
I was gonna ask if anyone remembered why we didn't do this, because I thought we had.
I did too, that's, so did I.
I believe it was just in relation to council's compensation on how they were compensated for serving on those boards, but not the commissioners or board members' compensation.
Oh, it didn't include.
Okay.
Well,
That makes a
So
lot of
that's
sense.
it's separate, but that's how the subject changed. So, you know, as you can see, if you were looking at, you know, if you're looking at the second page within the report, currently, you know, board members' compensation are $45 a meeting and they're $30 per committee. If you were to take into account inflation rates, that would be about $85 a meeting. And $56 for a committee meeting. You can see here how that relates to some of the nearby communities. I can certainly pull, you know, additional communities if you're so interested, but just to let you know that commissioners' compensation aren't always that clearly posted as it's a line item within a departmental's budget. So it's not as easy to identify as like staff costs, things of that nature.
I mean, this is even if we just accept your recommendation, it's still under, even like what the township does. So like, I think, you know, 26 years later, I think it's probably due that we accommodate. With regard to overall fiscal, yeah, I mean, the principle is such that I think we gave ourselves a minor bump last year, and I think
I know I'm out of order, but
No, it's fine.
I'm Eldon Newmeyer. I've been on the planning commission for 22 years. I was myself and another lady, was instrumental in getting payment for the planning commission. The idea was that we had trouble getting people to the meeting. We started out at $10 a meeting, and from then on, we had no problem with people showing up on time. And really, that's, to me, is what this is about. They're all showing up. What is it? How much is it a meeting now?
So right now, it is $45 or $30.
Yeah. And to me, if that's working, these are supposed to be people who are dedicated to civil causes. And that's, if they stop showing up, then maybe we ought to look at it. I mean, you ought to look at it. So
Sure.
just a little history.
Yeah, thank you for that.
We currently do have a few vacancies.
Yeah, I would, I mean, I feel like this is a very sound recommendation. Certainly would be, you know, happy to open it up for discussion if we thought otherwise, but given the fact that there are openings and the fact that I think it certainly is motivation to show up on time and participate in what is probably what I would consider to be one of the most important boards that we have. So yeah, I'm happy to move to accommodate that for sure.
So when you're saying that, is this referencing like the $26 mentioned? Are you suggesting like possibly drafting a resolution for consideration of the $85 per meeting with $55 per committee?
Yes.
Okay.
And then the Board of Appeals would be at 85, right?
That's correct.
Okay. Yeah. I think that's more than fair.
Yeah, the ZBA doesn't have committees, but when they meet, a lot of times they're more intense action items required. A lot of homework.
I'm sorry, I need to catch up. We went with 85 and 55 and then 85, right?
85 for the ZBA, 85
And
for
55
the
for-
planning commission regular, and 55 for committee.
Got it. That's just a general consensus to do the
Yeah,
resolution.
we'll bring a resolution back
Yep.
at a later date.
Just need to know
Nothing
that you have
to
a
vote
general
on right now. I think
consensus.
it's just that you wanted a nod to.
No, I just wanted to get council guidance before work with the attorney in drafting legal or financial documents.
You'll bring that to the next meeting?
Yes, yeah, my guess is.
Yeah, it'll probably be a month from now.
Any further discussion or questions for Doug?
No.
Thank you, Eldon. Appreciate your input too. All right, well, there we have it. And I think we're gonna be moving on to, is this so you have another one,
I come bearing gifts.
yeah. Here we go.
So the subject is a reimbursement agreement with Middleville Downtown Development Authority. Recommendation is to move to approve the attached reimbursement agreement between the Village of Middleville and the Middleville DDA and authorize the village manager to execute the agreement. This was presented to the DDA and drafted accordingly. The main purpose, as you'll note in the fiscal impact, was that the DDA worked towards adding additional placemaking measures to help with beautification and improvements of these projects, where these dollars would help the village in offsetting that cost, as to where if they were not added, that the village wouldn't have had this additional cost. That was the premise behind how this was drafted. They don't always add the pretty things and the things that make it more pleasing to the public in regards to how you can walk and enjoy the area.
So in terms of, on a go-forward basis, this would sit on top of when we do a Railroad Street construction project, that you can overlay your contribution or reimburse the village for recommendations that the DDA makes for said project.
So this is something that the DDA could do in areas that are within the DDA district.
Correct.
You know, this is a major street reconstruction, that there's not a lot of them within the DDA district, similar to like how the LEFA has functioned in regards to offsetting some of those costs too. This puts it in writing, where ideally the DDA can help in allocating funds as well as the village. So, you know, everyone knows where the finances are.
Got it.
It felt a little like we were taking money from one pocket, putting it in the other, and then moving it back. Am I not understanding this quite right?
So the DDA is a separate entity that the village council will approve their budget. However, that they allocate funds and spend them separately. So unlike many of the other boards, that they do have the ability to expend funds. So the DDA, as part of their economic vitality, it's structured into 4 pillars. Part of that committee, they are looking into assisting the village in improving infrastructure. So this being an infrastructure project within the area, it was noted in the development plan. It was also noted in the vision plan that the council just approved by resolution. That ideally trying to help with making sure that, you know, the added placemaking measures are included in these future projects. So, you know, that you will see when the railroad project is done, that it will not just be a simple repaving.
Thanks.
And I think this, again, from a higher level, it aligns with other initiatives like the Main Street Initiative, like our placemaking initiative, and it allows for the DDA, and it creates a very intentional channel for them to interject in something like a railroad street project where they can say, the pavement looks great, the curbs look beautiful, but how about flower boxes, or how about, you know, a bike rack or something, you know, whatever. But I think this is just very, very much intentional and it helps align all of those projects.
And I'm happy to go over like that street project or any other project, you know, to give a little bit more background. I'll say the parking lot F, I'm sure maybe you all don't know this, but we had design drawings done for this, I believe it was in 2008 or 2006, that it is not paved today.
Still.
For any of you that know, parking lot F is the parking lot that's adjacent to Barrows.
Mr. Powers, I'd like to, Ron, I'd like to approve the reimbursement agreement with the Middleville Downtown Authority relative to Railroad Street improvements, placemaking components, and parking lot F improvements, and authorize the village manager to execute the agreement. We have a motion with support. Any further discussion?
I'm sorry, who supported that?
Oh, I did.
Okay.
Hearing none. Ronnie, could I have a roll call, please?
Sandra Wade,
Aye.
Patrick Hilton, John Osterban,
Aye.
Robert Bishop,
Aye.
Susan Shannon,
Aye.
Stephen Baldridge,
Aye.
Kevin Smith.
Aye.
Can I just ask a quick, so it was approved in like 2006 and then nothing happened?
So the drawings were prepared in 2006. That would be a great question for Mr. Mears. That he may have the background to suggest as to why it didn't come to fruition at that day. So we'll see if we can get a response from him.
20 years does seem kind of a long time.
Because yes, I believe he's been our engineer for just over 20 years, if I'm not mistaken. Awesome.
You seem to be doing a lot of that dusting off of plans, aren't we?
This should be my last time coming up.
We're gonna miss you.
All right, moving on.
Good evening, council. I get the fun stuff. So tonight we're just kind of talking about Heritage Day. So Heritage Day is coming up July 11th. And so there's a lot of different things going on. There's gonna be a car show, a parade, a vendor market. We're gonna have a foam party for the kids. There's a lot of different activities going on. And Mr. Stolzenberg kind of wanted me to talk to you guys on like what your involvement, you guys, what kind of things that you might be interested in doing for Heritage Day. So I just kind of gave a couple options, but I'm kind of open to hearing any feedback if you guys are wanting to be a part of it in any way. A couple options could be just like throwing out candy in the parade. We do have pop-up tents and stuff that we can set up in the lawn if you guys wanted to do like a little meet and greet and stuff, because some of you are new and a lot of people haven't met you yet. Or you guys could do a little bit of both. So that could be some fun options to get involved in Heritage Day as well. And then we also have the music. That's been pretty popular so far. So like if you wanted to do a music night or something like that, that would give you guys an option as well. So I was kind of getting your feedback today.
Put Kevin in a dunk tank.
We are not doing a dunk tank this year. I know a lot of people wanted it, but the church is actually, they just bought a foam machine, and so we're gonna do a foam like party this year instead to change it up and see how that goes. But I've heard that it was pretty popular having Kevin in the dunk tank. I did hear that.
It was so popular. Cool.
I heard it was like a contest between Craig and Kevin, like
Yes.
who got the most.
I had multiple layers on that day, by the way, just for the record. It's very, very cool. I mean, I think that this is, I'm just gonna say, let's have an open discussion about how we'd like to interface, because my recommendation to Craig was that we just have like a tent, that we have some renderings, if we have any of things like the bridge project that we're trying to get grants and move forward. I think we had a couple of renderings that were created for that particular project. We have the east bank of the river. There's some renderings and drawings there that we could show, and just show what the council has before them.
That's a good idea.
And really, I think it's important to show momentum with regard to some of the decisions that this council has even made since we've been assembled. So it was my recommendation was a tent, like, and I think somebody had mentioned, maybe it was you, that said like set it up between like 11 and 2, which would probably be.
Yeah, so our biggest like time, like we're expecting the most people between like 11 and 1, 11 and 2. So most of the stuff starts after 10 a.m. The parade goes off at 10. The craft show goes 10 to 4. The duck race, which is really popular, goes at 3. So just kind of in the middle of that time, that's kind of what I was thinking. We are, the the cornhole tournament is gonna be between here and Champs, and there's gonna be, a DJ for the car show and a lot of stuff. So my thought, we have some pop-up tents that it could be a really good spot to kind of have you guys right here in the grass, so you're both close to the village hall. But then you guys kind of have your own area so that you guys can be kind of where a lot of things are happening, so that people can walk by and ask questions and kind of, get to know you guys and know what you guys are doing and stuff. So yeah, that's kind of where I was like thinking, is like right outside this window kind of, you know.
So we have the maximum 3 people, we can have 4 hunters.
Right.
Right.
Oh, you can have a forum.
We
Well,
can
it's
do-
a public event, so I
Yeah, that's a
don't,
public event. I think that's
So-
a chance gathering, and it's not gonna matter for quorum, would it?
No,
I agree with you.
yeah, it's not, I mean, you're not gonna sit out there and discuss business to make a decision. You're not gonna like work in the manner of, hey, this is what we're talking about so that we can make a decision. That's completely different.
and if some of you wanted to partake in the parade and some of you wanted to do the booth or like stuff like that, there's an opportunity for like you guys to split your duties as well. If you wanted to do that. I know she was talking about maybe getting music in I've heard rumors, so I think that's pretty exciting, so I appreciate that as well. So I've heard that could come.
What
so
do you
that's
play,
pretty cool.
Caitlin?
I have not picked up an instrument in a while and I'll be pretty busy that day, but I might be able to help out some other.
To be fair, I don't think you can get more than 3 of you under a tent at one time anyways,
Yeah.
and be able to actually talk to people,
Yeah.
so.
But there's gonna be a lot of stuff going on, so like, that's the nice part about it, you could have some at the tent, you could have some people just walking around if you wanted. We just suggested, like, we should have the village shirts in by then, just kind of wearing your village shirts, people know who you are, and just go from there, so.
It's been a couple of reasons.
This is July 11th?
It's July 11th, yep.
And should one of us want to like grab a tractor and be in the parade or something?
Go for it, that would be
Is
awesome.
there someone to contact for that, or is it just line up?
So both, Mackenzie Peters is the one that's taking care of the parade for us this year, so she's the one that's kind of taking the lead on that. She does, I can give you her email if you want, she is asking for people to like kind of pre-register, just so we kind of have an idea of the amount of people that are going to be in the parade, but if you just show up, that's fine as well.
I think you can find that sign up on your Facebook page,
Yeah,
right?
so-
Yes.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep it all under the Middleville DDA Facebook, but we do have a lot of events. So I have an event created for all of the music, and I have an event created for Heritage Day. So if you follow along on the Heritage Day event page, I have posts for the parade, the cornhole, the car show, the vendor market, all of that is underneath that one event. So if you follow along on that event, you'll see the different postings and stuff that I've been doing for that. So that's one thing that we're really trying to get out there and do more with, that is trying to get our following a little bit more on Facebook, so people are kind of in the know. And speaking of that, I do have some Heritage Day flyers over here by Rhonda. We just got them printed. So if you guys know of any place where you could hang them in a business, at your church, or some kind of thing like that, there are some over there. I'd really like it if you guys could take them and hang them up for me. I'd appreciate that, so.
While we're under the tent, I know that this holds true when we do the fair. We really don't have any
Swag,
at all. Like, it's old.
I don't even know if we'd have time to get swag.
I would say it's probably gonna be really close to see if we can get swag. I know that for the DDA, I'm kind of struggling getting some stuff for that as well. But that's something that we could definitely look into getting.
I have a few
Other
ideas on
events.
that,
You guys
that we
would-
ship within 24 hours, so.
You guys would
Sweet, dude.
probably have to have a
Totally
motion of how much money you'd be willing to spend on that as well.
The hard part about it, Kevin, is that some of the stuff takes longer because like you wanna have your logo on it. So some of the stuff, that's the hard, like, that's what I'm noticing for like things like car show goodies and different things like that. It takes a little bit longer for that. But yes, those are changed, so.
With that, we would probably have to come up with a loose budget for something like that, or whatever it is that we are planning on. Unleashing on the public with regard to our logo and, what is popular now? I mean, there used to be a day where those spinner things were popular. There's gotta be something that's popular now that,
I mean, fair, we've done,
Chapsticks, stickers,
Yeah.
there's like the little like tote bags or like drawstring bags, water bottles are pretty popular, pencils, different things like that are simple that they can
Pens
just come
go
and grab.
really
Pens go
fast, but
really fast.
I haven't checked prices on any of this
I
stuff
have not
recently.
either.
I'm gonna say water bottles, you're looking at probably close to $1 a piece.
Yeah, when I was looking at
Insane.
water bottles for the Brian Appel, like you had to order them in like hundreds and it took a
Yeah.
little bit longer, so I missed the on that, but I am trying to potentially look at different things.
Pens,
for-
they have our stuff, and we could probably get pens a little quicker. But I mean, even for imprint, we'd be close on time, especially with the holiday coming up. And we can try, I can work with you on it, because of what we've done before, and clearly that's not a DDA thing for you to do. So I can work with you, and we can figure it out, but you're not gonna do it for a small budget, for sure.
I think when we did the fair, the most popular thing was the cooler covers, the box.
Oh, the koozies?
I'm surprised by that, because everybody carries a water bottle now. I'm really surprised that can koozies are, yeah. I mean, there's key rings. I'm trying to think of other stuff you pick up when you're at a trade show. Stress balls.
There's I don't know how much these. There's this, like a cell phone holder, which I have a cell phone holder that I use. I use it every day at work. I put my phone in it and it holds it up.
Oh, yeah. We bought those before. Do you
We
remember how
had
much those
those,
were?
they were not popular.
Really?
Mhm.
Nobody
I
has?
think we got rid of them, I think it wasn't last year's fair, I think it was the year before.
It took us a bit to get rid
It
of
took
them.
us a bit,
Yeah.
yeah.
Stickers?
It was the year before because I was pushing them really hard.
Yeah.
Really?
Stickers are usually go pretty quickly.
I had them spin the township and then I give them out.
The other thing would be, and it's obviously and maybe it's too late for this, but like a magnet, calendar with, important dates like trash pickup days or whatever. I don't know. And maybe that's something.
It's a
that we
great
think
idea,
about
but I don't think we
next
can
year.
throw that together in that time frame
Yeah.
because we'd also have, to give it away now, you want to be having it for like next year. But it's something we could potentially look at in the future.
We don't really spend a lot of time on swag because, and the irony is like, and we just now pulled out of the fair, if I remember our decision, so, but if we were to continue to participate in like Heritage Days, or, I mean, even if it was, we made a presence during other events and other
Well,
parades,
I actually started
makes sense.
looking for swag from other people. I talked to Catherine today to try to get some for a community exchange as well, so we can use the leftovers for things like that too. But yeah, it's to get it quick and the budget.
Pens work.
Yeah,
Yeah, pens are,
yeah, and these are nice pens and they're horribly expensive, but I'm gonna say you're looking at probably for that amount of time in Heritage Day, you're probably looking at around $1,000 budget, wouldn't you?
Depending on how much you're
would it
gonna
make
order.
sense for us to
Yeah.
just approve a loose, not to exceed budget for something like that, just so that you can make a choice?
That's up to you guys, and then we can try to work.
That's
with
if you,
stuff.
yeah, cause I don't know if I can
Yeah.
guarantee like
Yeah.
getting stuff by Heritage Day just because it's so close. But we can try, if we can try to find some stuff, or we can just say we can go with like what we have and then try to be better about it for next year. It's kind of-
There are somewhere around here, I believe a ton of stickers left over from DDA. I don't know where they're at. Do you know where those are at? The stickers that DDA
I
have?
was gonna suggest, look at the bin that we have for expos and
Yeah.
fair. We might have leftovers, from.
There's
the
some, I just don't think there's a
presentation.
lot. Heather's actually gonna look at that stuff tomorrow, because we talked about it for
And
community
if
exchange.
you don't have enough, just a bucket with candy is gonna be enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, Candy
That's
definitely goes. She's right about that.
Candy's real.
Yeah. I
Candy
think the
does go.
sticker is a really good idea though, cause we did a magnet for the Riverbank Music Series, and we were handing them out at the Riverbank Music Nights, that they can put on their fridge with all the dates, and people really like that. That's something that you would wanna do at the beginning of the year though, so they have it for the whole year, but that was a really popular thing. We ordered 150 of those and I have like a handful left, so that was something that was really popular.
We have done magnets too. There's some out there on the table just with our QR code and it takes you to our website. So nothing specific on it itself, just see our website and the QR code takes you there. Those I feel like came really fast too. That was for imprint, wasn't it? So that we could probably do quickly.
And this print usually goes fast too, so I have to.
And Glorimar's right though, Candy, yeah.
Candy does.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's
Just
not a
not
lot of
chocolate.
hours either, so you don't need a lot of swagging your table.
Yeah. You just don't want chocolate in, it's too hot.
It could be, it's July 11th.
So, but if you wanna set a budget, like, I know Caitlin's got enough on her plate with that. Heather and I can probably, with Glorimar, looking at what we've done before, pull together something if you wanna set a budget and just give us the, yes, go ahead and do this, or we could even get in contact with you and say, hey, this is what we found and this is about how much money it's going. Are you okay if we use the money this way?
I mean, if you guys are okay with that, I just for getting feedback from them and then I'll just.
Make the call.
Yay or nay.
But I just need a motion.
Okay.
And I would say, I wouldn't want you to put your motion that it's for Heritage Day. I would say just that it's to purchase branded, Village of Middleville branded giveaways or something generic like that
Future events.
with a not to exceed whatever. So then we could use it other ways. We do have sometimes some people will come in and go, you know, my friend is coming in and do you have anything that says Middleville on it? So if we could give it away. I mean, I don't want it tied to anything if that's okay with you guys.
Yeah, I think that's
So.
smart.
Free time to make the motion.
Let's work.
I'll make the motion, to acknowledge it.
Do you want me to say it the way I said it?
Yeah, go ahead and say
Okay,
it.
I think I was saying,
There was
just
a-
to purchase Village of Middleville branded giveaways not to exceed, boom.
Yeah.
Does that sound okay?
Yeah, and I would say, I
Items
mean,
for
it's
giveaway
$500,
or something.
$1,000.
I think $1,000.
I think of that.
Yeah, we're not gonna get very far with $500.
So why don't we just say 1,000? Okay, so to approve purchasing Village of Middleville branded giveaway, giveaways not to exceed $1,000.
Support.
We have a motion with support. Rhonda, could you do, roll call, please?
Certainly. John Osterbaum.
Aye.
Susan Shannon.
Aye.
Sandra Wake.
Aye.
Patrick Hilton. Stephen Baldry.
Aye.
Robert Bishop.
Aye.
Kevin Smith.
Aye. There, that gives you some flexibility for,
Perfect.
so then to go back to the original conversation, which was a tent.
Yep.
On the lawn or wherever, set up, and then we have like maybe a couple of shifts for people to man the tent while people come and visit. And then I would say it would make a lot of sense if we had rendered drawings on some sort of cardboard back or whatever. I mean, I've got to believe that we have some of that laying around.
Yeah.
Just to give people something to talk about other than just having a bucket of candy and.
Yeah, we'll have to see what we've got available. I don't know what's where, but we can try.
Well, you know,
Draw that's been real township, so.
Was that fun?
Yeah, I mean,
that was actually really good.
it was really good. I mean, it got people, up to the table, but I guess how many people, they just came to spin the wheel.
I think you'll find it's different here than it is at fair.
Okay.
I think if you have people stop at your table here, they're gonna stop on purpose. Fair, they're just looking to pick up the stuff on the way by with their kids to get to the next thing. Just my opinion, but yeah, I think it's different here.
Also, that spinning wheel is only good for the first hour, and then after that, the clacking gets
That is so true.
I was looking how to take the clacker thing out of the.
Eric was like, come on up and spin the wheel.
So the problem is he took the clacker out, 2 years ago, but then the kids go up there and they give it a spin and there was nothing to slow it down, so they stand there for 15 minutes while it spins.
Oh, that's funny.
I will plan on having a tent and a table then. If you think of anything else or need anything else from us, please send us an email and let us know what else we can do. And then we can kind of work on the swag stuff, so.
Perfect. Thank you for that.
Yes, thank you.
Anybody stand for
So, moving on to DDA appointment, kind of no-brainer really. So, I'd like to make a motion to approve the appointment of Mackenzie Peters to the Downtown Development Authority to a term expiring April 30th, 2027.
Support.
We have a motion with support. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Inside the packet, there are boards and commissions, informational items, DDA revenue and expenditures report. This time, I'd like to open it up for public comment, limited 3 minutes per speaker is in effect. Any persons attending may comment on any subject. Please state your name, direct your comments to the chair. The Village of Middleville Rules and Procedure prohibit the village council from debating or discussing issues with the public.
I just want to point out, about the DDA revenue and expenditures. Thank you, Ms. Shannon, for your phone call and your emails. Do not stop doing that. I like it. She found that in the, that report, there were some, amounts missing. And I was just looking at the general ledger. I'm like, oh, you were right. I forgot about 2 line items that are very important. So I added them to the report and I explained to her that the DDA general ledger numbers were changed this year. In previous years, they were attached to the same as the LDFA, but because Douglas is running the DDA in a different way, we decided to allocate their money into different activities and has a lot more numbers. So when I went and updated my report, there was still some line items that were missing, so thank you very much for that. And before we leave today, I know Mr. Stolzenberg put it in his report, but next week, June 30, 7 p.m., budget for 27 workshop. Please come, bring your questions. If you are unable to come, email me or Mr. Stolzenberg with your questions and we were more than it will be our pleasure to answer your questions. We really want your be part of the process and bring whatever it is that you want to see in the village for the next year. Thank you.
7 o'clock?
Yes, 7 o'clock, just like a regular meeting, but it's a fifth Tuesday, so.
Thank you, Laura.
Yep.
Appreciate that. DDA, July 7th, Planning Commission, July 7th, Council, we have another one on July 14th. I think we also have a joint meeting on July 21st with the planning.
Yep.
With the council and planning, which will be on July 21st. And the last one, but this is very important, is our One Middleville meeting. I believe there was an email that was sent out as well today on that. And like to build up some momentum and obviously take some recommendations from anybody that, if anybody has any recommendations for others who might want to attend that meeting.
So are we meeting here first and then moving
I was just
on?
gonna say, as a side note, both of those July 21 meetings are at the training facility for Bradford White.
Yep.
So it'll be on the posting, I believe it's 445 Eagle. It's not at the main plant, it's up on Eagle. But in the posting, it'll have where you're supposed to be at the 5:30 and the 7 are both gonna be there. Also just, community exchange, July 20th in Sparta, August 6th here. We do need to start, telling me who's gonna be at one of those. One of those? Which of those? You can go to both of them, I don't care, but we're gonna need counts for food there, here, as well as we figure out the transportation here. We get a bus from the Bear County Transit to drive us around. So the sooner the better, if you can let me know who expects to attend those.
We will.
Both, okay.
And the date on that exchange is again what?
It's July 20th in Sparta, which is the day before your Win Middleville meeting, and August 6th in Middleville.
Around what time?
Those will be pretty much all day events.
Okay.
Mhm.
Starting at like 9?
I have an agenda from Sparta. They're starting at 8:30, ending at 4:30. I'm attempting to go about that same time frame.
Okay.
It's just that we have a Bradford White tour in ours, and that takes a little chunk. Yeah, that takes a little chunk out of our day. But we've got a couple people who've also said, yeah, you can come in. We're hoping to go into Lincoln Meadows. We haven't done that before. Get a tour of one of the apartments at Midvilla. And, yeah, so I had to give up the school to do that, but, yeah. So I'm trying to put it together, because that Bradford White thing takes a chunk out.
Yeah.
So,
Can I sign up for the August 6th?
Yep. You got more public comment over
Yes.
there, Mr.
Yes,
President?
please.
Okay, I have two items. One, there was no band at the Memorial Day parade. There's no band scheduled for the, parade at the Heritage Days. And, the school has used, apparently used, things like the seniors graduate, so we can't put the freshmen, sophomores and juniors in. Then we got the middle school, which was okay, was a band. But we have none in either one. And I would like to see the council at least write a letter to the school board and see what they can do about it. And perhaps we can get a band in there. That always adds to a parade. Middleville's famous for its parades. And if that doesn't work, then you send a letter to Caledonia or Hastings. And I'm sure one year of them marching in the band will cause the other band to come forward. That's the first one. The second one, the DDA passed a ruling that would allow an electric sign in every property on 37. I think that should be looked at again because I certainly don't want, there's enough electric signs out there now, which you have to read usually as you go by. They're very effective. And I don't know how they would do that, but allowing every property to have one, to me, is not regulating. So I appreciate your attention. Am I up?
I forgot
Thank
to
you, sir.
run the timer on you. Mr. President, with your permission, I could explain what Mr. Rickert has explained about the band. That's up to you. I don't have to do it now if you don't want me to.
No, actually, I think I would love to, because I don't fully comprehend it.
So he explained to us, because he is on staff here, and so we did ask him, how does that work and what happens? Why can't there be a band at the things? At one point, the high school band director, which is him, and the middle school band director agreed to split the Memorial Day, Heritage Day thing. So high school band was Heritage Day, middle school band was Memorial Day. Mr. Hagman did not have enough kids to be there. He didn't have enough kids in town to have a band, is what came down this year, as well as a lot of them don't know how to march. The other issue that we're having is the time frame that we're doing events, they are not in school. So they don't have any requirement to do anything because they're not in school. They're on break. So we have discussed here in the office with him, with Caitlin, about potentially moving our Heritage Day to the first weekend in August maybe, when at least they're back at band camp. He said that's what his thought process is. He goes, why everybody just assumes that band kids and band families don't get a vacation. So, but his thought process was, as long as he was in band camp timeframe, he could potentially look at, you know, when he was the director, I can ask my kids to do something. So that's the thought process.
I had a meeting with the superintendent before school ended, and he just said that July is a dead month for everything, sports, when it comes, like, activities and stuff, because school's just getting out, so that's really hard to be able to have them, because they.
We've done it for 100 years. We have people from the high school and the middle school.
Not in July.
I mean, it's been, we've had summer, you know, parades and time, it's, you know, on Saturdays and whatever. I mean, it's happened, we've had, I can't remember a time, except for the last 3 years, that we haven't had a band in our parades, which tank any event that surrounds a parade. And it's, you know, the bigger these parades are, the more momentum that we have going into every event that we've had. It's kind of table stakes, and it's been event planning since the beginning of time for Middleville. So again, I'm just confused as to, like, I mean, I appreciate the superintendent's feedback. I appreciate that that there's no school, but these events were being manned by band members in the middle of the summer or after school let out. I mean, Heritage Days has had more than one parade, and there was always been a band.
To be fair, we have moved Heritage Days around a lot on
Right.
them. And for a number of years, they were in session. A lot of times it was the weekend following Labor Day. It was that for a long time. I would say the last 5 years, we have bounced Heritage Day all
For
over
sure.
the place.
For sure.
So maybe if we can coordinate with them on a good time frame and pick a good time frame with them, it's just something we've talked about here in the office of trying to work it out with them so that we don't put them at a disadvantage for us.
Sure, of course. I'm
So-
trying to be, I want to be
Yep.
empathetic to everybody
Yep.
involved, but I don't,
Yeah.
I mean, I think we can always say that there's a reason why something doesn't happen, but I don't hear a list of reasons why they should. And that we're, in my opinion, is really what we should be aiming for.
And that's what we're
especially when
trying
build
to
that.
maybe put it on a day when we know that they can do it and stuff
Sure.
like that going forward.
I'd love to see that, and I'm really happy that you're trying to get some kind of music, because when I heard that rumor, I was like, that will be amazing, without having a school band and stuff, to have some kind of music in the parade. It's exciting to get that as a potential.
It really adds, I mean, every participant of these parades is like a huge win, and the bigger they are, the better it is, and the more momentum we have going into that event, whatever that might be, Heritage Days, 4th of July, whatever, right? So I just think, for us to miss it.
Alumni band.
Yeah.
Have an
Well,
alumni band.
That's what she's working on.
That's what we were trying to work on, and we
Wouldn't that be a
couldn't
blast?
find, I know, I thought it would be too, but we couldn't find enough people, so basically it's like, okay.
If you
have a
post on
shot.
Facebook, would any of your alumni come and say, yeah, I can still do that?
We might just take Elton's advice and contact Caledonia and Hastings and find out if they have a band we can borrow for the event. Wouldn't be a difficult call. I think, it is, you know, every day that goes by, it's harder to make this happen, but I would argue that at 9 a.m. tomorrow, if we made a phone call to Caledonia and to Hastings, hopefully somebody could give us a response by the end of the week and maybe commit. But, I know that this is not, I think in a very idealistic way when it comes to deadlines. All right, so with that, I do want to open it up for final council comment, unless there's any further public comment that could be shared. We'll start with this end.
Let's just throw out a plea for any musicians to join our band, just let me know, we'll get you on a float, you don't even have to march.
I'm all set.
All set? Mr. Baldry?
Well, you know, if you ever watch Tool Time, you know, it has the construction guys come in, do the report on the garbage cans and the rivet wheel, all that stuff. Those of us that have workshops, I don't know, we could make some noise, I
We have a
guess.
stop routine. I like it.
I have a couple of things. This last meeting, I challenged everyone to put 5 points up for how we want our TIF structure to start to look. Wondering if anybody's done that yet. Me too. And I'd like to present them to Craig, maybe before the next meeting or at the next meeting, and keep moving on this, don't let it die on us.
Now, were you,
It's just.
you weren't necessarily thinking locations that we should try to develop. You were thinking of maybe,
What's
What
your
need
ideas
would
on
be met?
how it should go? Yeah.
Like if you met
With the
this date,
framework.
we would give you 10 years of.
Yeah.
Okay.
I picked 5 call parameters, that no
I'm happy.
automation guy, we do everything different. So I picked 5 parameter points that I will.
I think that's so smart. You'll have mine tonight. Drafts.
I think we've got Craig driving the bus on it. So
Or send them to Craig, yeah, send them to Craig. And then that way, at least we can have a conversation, because I really do believe in order to effectively vote for or against a particular tip, we should have guardrails, even if they're in, we can informally and then eventually formally put them in place. At least we have a framework in which to operate when somebody may not get a tip that might be expecting it. But also give Doug the opportunity to promote when we do have a TIF available for a specific type of project. It really makes it easier for him to do that, so.
I heard rumors that the land is being cleared on that.
No rumors.
It is, huh?
Yeah, they've been doing it.
I mean, they can do a lot of that stuff for by right, whether it gets funded by a TIF or supplemented with a TIF is an entirely different story. Is up for a conversation later on.
And then the only other thing I'll comment is for the DPW, just great job, fellas. I know I can hear them saws and stuff running all day and grinders and all that, and just think.
I will definitely let them know.
Mr. Bishop?
I can say I was driving underneath that tornado when it happened. My phone actually went off to say, seek shelter immediately. You are directly in the path of a tornado. And I thought, I've never heard that before. But at that point, you can't see anything, so there's no seeking shelter. It's just, pucker and hope. But, yeah. No, that was interesting, and it is nice to see that the guys are out and working on all that stuff. I hadn't even gotten around my neighborhood to find out if people were okay, and I was already getting asked, "Oh, we didn't have a big cleanup day where they come around with the trucks?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm sure we are. I don't know when that'll be." Yeah, right across the road from me, their house got hit, and then, Jason Holzhausen's house got hit by his tree. So, yeah. I don't think he had a lot of damage, because it just clipped the edge of the roof, but, I know my neighbors across the road got quite a bit of damage. So, yeah, stay safe out there.
For sure.
Nothing new here.
Nothing new, all right. Just gonna echo what's already been said about DPW. That's a pretty tremendous job that you guys are faced with on the tail end of such a terrible storm. I had a tree fall across my fence, so damage done. But I did not take nearly as much damage as my neighbor across the street from me, whose barn was completely scooped up and destroyed with a lot of stuff in it. So I have never seen, I have a gigantic silver maple and it was bent over in that wind. So it was clearly a bad storm. So I just sent prayers out to the universe, especially here in Middleville, for anybody that was impacted by that storm, because it was a big deal.
Oh, I will say, go out and check your trees for
Cracks?
for widowmakers hanging up there, because one of my trees has a branch broken off and hanging up there. Be cognizant if that happens, and they can surprise you.
That's real. Yeah, that's very real. And yeah, for sure. I think based on the conversations that we've had, and I know that I've had the same conversation at the DDA level, I don't really care who preempts it, and it could be us, and I'm happy to just give that over to Craig and we can put it on our agenda. But I really think a declaration for a set weekend for Heritage Days is in order finally to get it back where it used to be, where it was always on the same weekend, so that we can make these plans and we can make, bring people like food trucks and activities and bands in the parade.
Oh, she's got food trucks, you got those.
Yeah, so I think, we really have been working with a moving target, and I think erroneously, and I'm not sure why that was, but I think it was because we were always listening to external people from Hastings and Caledonia, who I really respect and admire those people, but I don't think they should be setting the schedule for the village of Middleville when it's our village, and we have 5,000 people that live here that don't need an opinion from Hastings. So, I think we really absolutely need to set a Heritage Day weekend, commit to that, and make that declaration so that we can put it in ink and stamp it and put it on a plaque or whatever we do with such things.
Is Labor Day weekend good weekend or no?
Probably not Labor Day.
The band wouldn't have much of a.
Yeah, it would be a pretty quiet
Well, after
weekend.
band camp.
Um,
Yeah, but all school stuff started now before Labor Day. Used to be they waited.
I would say like sometime late August, but something that avoids Labor Day as much as possible.
But when's band camp usually?
Yeah.
August.
And I think,
July and August.
and I think we could also, if we have a set weekend, we can give that to the band director who can then make plans. And again, I think if it was predictable, it would be a lot easier to plan this event.
Because they have band camp just before school.
Yeah.
So it's around that time, the kids would have at least marched together for a week.
I mean, I think it's either we do the week before Labor Day or we do it the week after, which would coincide, I mean, everybody would be back to school, but then it's on a Saturday, so.
The biggest thing we've tried to avoid with the August is Hastings Summerfest, because then you're fighting for food trucks, you're fighting for craft vendors and stuff like that. Other ones, I don't think we'd necessarily need to work around, but that one, yeah, you're gonna fight for the same food trucks and
I
craft
mean,
vendors.
Again, I don't know, I don't know if we know
We can
the
talk
actual
about it.
facts of it, because we never, I mean, I think we used to plan at the same
The date
time.
was picked the way it was is because that, one, we didn't have volunteers, the people who were working towards this event were not available on other times, and also conflicts with other car shows and
Sure.
activities. So there was a lot of discussion about dates, and last year it was suggested that we determine what the turnout is from this year's event, and then if that we do get a good turnout, then that date ends up being adopted by resolution, being the Heritage Days in perpetuity. That was what was discussed last year.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the reason why it was picked, is the people that are working diligently on planning the activity were not available. That one or the other wasn't able to be there for a lot of these other dates, and there was also other conflicts.
Eldon, to your memory, and I'm sorry to direct this to you, but I mean, it seems like it was in late August every year for many years, is that accurate?
Yeah, in August, and then, they moved it into September.
Yeah.
Because it was going against, Hastings,
It used to be weekend after Labor Day for years. That's when it started, was weekend after Labor Day.
And then what happened?
I don't know how it got moved to August. I really don't.
Because Summerfest is always in
It was
August.
in
August is like, or Summerfest is the last
September, you
week.
never depend
Yeah.
on it. You couldn't
Oh, it was
depend on
because of the weather. Yeah, it's usually dry, yeah, for that. I don't know, I mean, I know that a lot of people will go to Hastings, and I know that if we have activities here, they'll go here. And we're 20 minutes away, or 15 minutes away from each other, so I really struggle with the concept that whatever happens in Hastings should shut Middleville down
No,
completely, and we should just be a ghost town until Hastings is done doing what they're doing. Like, I feel like that's
We
kind of
also
like,
had a problem because the bridge was closed.
yeah.
And there was something else one other year that.
Brewfest, bopped in there one year.
Again, I think if we build off of the momentum of a single weekend that we choose, we can have beer tasting, and we can have we can have bands all day, and we can have whatever is good for Middleville, because that's who we're serving. And I would hate to not include the residents and the constituents of the village of Middleville to honor Hastings if they have an event, we just shut everything down just so that we don't compete with them. But, you know, Burger King, McDonald's, and Wendy's live across the street from one another, and being the second largest municipality in Berry County, I'm rather proud of that. And I would think that enough people of the 5,000, if they're aware of it and they can plan around it and it be a solid event, I believe that we could rekindle interest at scale for Heritage Days, for sure. So.
I agree. I think we gotta come up with a certain date, just make it that date.
I agree.
Because I mean, my wife does the same thing with women in the outdoors. It's always the weekend before Labor Day. She does, they do it for 26 years.
Yeah.
Well, they know for 26, you know, it's just the weekend before Labor Day or whatever, you know, so I think that's the most important part.
I agree.
If you keep moving the target, people are gonna,
We have had several discussions about doing that, so.
you know,
Yep.
How
And
about
again,
Middleville garage sale days? That was something that used to be done too with the Heritage Day.
With Heritage Days?
No, but by the same person who did Heritage Day. And it was real popular, and then she left.
again, I think just something to think about, and I think we should, the sooner the better, and obviously the ship sailed to some degree for Heritage Days this year, but I really think shortly after, while it's fresh in our minds, I really do believe that we should commit to a solid date and just continue to make that our date, regardless of what happens in Grand Rapids or Hastings
That's
or
the
California.
intention, yeah. And we'll see how July 11th goes.
All right, and that's all I have, by the way. So I think with that, a motion is in order.
make a motion to adjourn.
We have a motion with support. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries.